the second wind and the Minnesota Nice of the Minnesota Roller Girls.
Looks like we have Little Rascal on the line. She was making some big points yesterday. We'll see what she's got today. I expect more of the same. And Nicholas Rage. Let's play some dirt.
In last night's first jam, Little Rascal scored 24 points.
Let's see if she can do that again. She's definitely pushing up front, but not through as your lead jammer. Nicholas Rage is through as your lead jammer. Nice spin move on that outside. It looks like Nicholas Rage has 4 points to start this game off.
2-0 for the Nice. So the second wind getting first blood here in this one.
We've got Valkyrie on the line for Minnesota Nice, and it looks like Hannibal Wrecker for Windy City second wind. Got some tough tripods happening, and it looks like a power jam as we've got Hannibal headed to the box.
And another second wind skater going to join her in the box.
And that is the pivot. So we've got the pivot and the jammer sitting in the box currently. Valkyrie's lead.
Little offensive blocking there, I believe, from Gay of Reckoning of the Nice.
Correct.
And Val has to recycle back around.
And Hannibal Wrecker is out of the box and through. That was just her initial pass. Valkyrie's calling it off. Should be some points coming there. Yes, it is tied 4-4. For all of you watching at home, Windy City is in white. Minnesota Nice is in black with the Aqua and Army.
Windy City, of course, sporting the classic Chicago flag.
Yes.
As they've done for many moons.
And everyone's sweating because it's 150 degrees in here. Glad I'm not on skates currently. We have number 65. That is T-Rex, who was quite successful yesterday. Tiptoeing on the outside and is lead jammer. Windy City coming around fast, though. Number 6, that is Tina Fatal.
T-Rex forced to recycle as Fatal gets through and gets her points first. So now T-Rex is the one trying to play catch-up even as lead jammer. Trying to get those points and calling off the jam at the behest of her coach.
Fun fact, Tina Fatal brews kombucha in her old helmet.
In what?
Her old helmet. Not like you could tell the difference. Have you had kombucha
her
before?
Her old helmet. That's,
sure.
That's a very good point about kombucha.
Adds a little flavor.
In her old helmet. That's great. That's a truly fun fact. Thank you for getting the fun facts here tonight, Nasty.
You'll remember that forever.
I will.
We have Sodium Fine, otherwise known as So Fine, up on the line jamming for Minnesota Nice.
And that's Nicholas Rage back out there for the Windy City second wind.
Right.
It's going to be Rage, lead jammer, as the second wind has an 8-6 lead after only 3 jams.
Nicholas Rage taking a hop on that apex to get around the Minnesota blockers. According to Windy City, Nicholas Rage is our national treasure.
Aw, I like that one too.
Fun facts.
Fun facts.
Another hop on the outside that time. Very agile, making points. Coming up against a tough wall, however, up front. We've got Ballers sequin shorts, stopping some jammers out there. baller in them, of course. Very tough blocker.
So
I believe we've got Esmeralda and Pretty Rackless as well in that tripod up front.
Rackless was a very effective blocker last night. Really stood out.
Absolutely.
They were able to slow Nicholas Rage down for quite a while, but finally does get through and get those 4 points.
We've got OGs waiting to get back on the track there, refusing to be drawn back. But Nicholas Rage through again, now at 16 points.
That's right, and calling off the jam at the instruction of Windy City's coach to trap SoFine in the box. But that was a high-scoring jam. As you said, 16 points to only 6, and we've got an official review. Let's see. What are the official fun facts?
Official fun facts, absolutely.
I know you got 'em.
We have a lot of cat facts. Those are always fun. Irma Gerd, who likes my cats. I like hers as well. Scout. Scout is the name of Irma Gerd's cat. Irma Gerd, one of my favorite derby names.
It's a good name, for
Fun
sure.
to say.
For sure.
Irma Gerd.
And a good person using that name as well.
Right, yeah.
Just an upstanding citizen.
Triple Destruction has 2 cats and a toddler. Teaches children, but 2 cats. That's important. Looks like Bruce Springsteen. Her cat's name is Bruce, and her dog's name is Bowie.
Aww.
I know. So those are the animal facts that I have. We'll save some of the other fun things for later.
A wise choice on your part.
Right. And hopefully we'll find out what the officials are officially talking about.
Well, thus far, it was close until this last jam, and then the second win really able to take advantage of that power jam. I wasn't, I was more watching the action on the track, but it seemed that penalty lasted a long time.
That penalty did seem to last a long time. I don't know if it was a full minute for some reason. I didn't catch what had happened. Perhaps she got back on and then ended up back in the box. Those of you watching from home maybe saw it a little bit better. So thanks for watching. It's great that we've got that live feed. Exciting news. We've got Little Rascal back on that jam line, and Hannibal Wrecker is back out there for Windy City.
Okay, so when the last jam ended, Minnesota's jammer was still in the penalty box, but now they're fielding a jammer on the track, so something must have changed.
Something happened. Maybe that's what's being talked about right now.
I'm confident that it is.
Okay, well, great. I'm hoping we get some insight. Regardless, if Minnesota starts with a jammer, it is because that jammer had been released or shouldn't have been in the box any longer.
Well, we trust our officials to know
Absolutely.
and to do the right thing.
We could announce some of the people that are skating out there. We've got some rosters to go over.
Oh, yeah, let's do that. Great idea.
That. Excellent. All right. Do you want to talk about Windy City?
I would be honored to talk about Windy City. Windy City Rollers' second win tonight, number 182, Blink 1 Skatey 2. That's a fun one. Number 187, Kickin' McChuggett. Number 1975, Nasty Al. Number 21, Tricky Pixie. Number 260, Trouble Helix. Number 5, Fox Force. Number 512, Sandy Cheeks. Number 52, Death Ray. Number 6, Tina Fatal. Fatal. Number 69, Amanda Beating. Number 775, Vanasty. Number 777, Pitbull Princess. Number 815, Pika Brews. 820, Hannibal Wrecker. And number 9, Nicholas Rage.
Excellent. Thank you. We'll talk about the Minnesota skaters in a minute.
Let's
Hannibal
do that.
Wrecker, you just announced, is the lead jammer and is making points currently up front. It looks like we did have a star pass, and SoFine is putting on that helmet cover. Or she may have come out of the box and been the jammer, took it off, put it back on. I'll pay more attention.
We're going to have to pay a lot of attention here because stuff's getting weird.
Tonight. Yes.
This is like a challenge bout just for us.
Right.
To understand what's going on and tell people accurately what's happening.
People at home who are watching, I'm sure they understand. What I do know is we've got malls to the walls in the penalty box right now for Minnesota, and it looks like we've got a cut on SoFine headed to the box. We'll pay more attention to what's happening now with that jammer being off the track. And 8:20 still being pointed at. That is Hannibal Recker. Has gotten through for 12 points already. And right around that outside for another 4.
And again, that slick outside move, like a hot knife through a
cliche.
I was actually going to go with like a hot knife. I couldn't make myself say it though. Like a hot knife through a fava bean. Is that? I think.
Great. I like that better. That was
still makes me feel gross.
Right. So SoFine is still in the box. The score currently: second win, 44 points. Minnesota nice 9.
Tina Fatal, the jammer of record for the second wind.
And a penalty on the Windy City jammer, Tina Fatal.
Looked like that may have been a back block, although we didn't have a good angle on seeing the call.
Right. What we do know is Minnesota jammer is getting back on that track, and Minnesota blockers are playing some offense, working to get her through. We see Esmeralda, Baller, OGs out there now positioning themselves to let her push up at the front. Slam also bridging there.
Big 3-wall up front as the second wind sheds blockers to maintain pack so they can continue to slow down SoFine. Oh, and then she's forced to recycle to the outside. There was one jammer or blocker to beat.
So close. That'll take the wind out of you there when you're that far up. And it looks like we've got Windy City jammer back on the track. SoFine is indeed out of the pack now, being called not lead. Hopping on that inside, but being called for a cut and going back to the box.
So is that man, this is when I wish I had a penalty board like the back in the old days so I could look and see how many penalties she's got. Because it's at least 3, but possibly 4
Correct.
or even more.
That's what I'm going to guess as well. And it looks like Baller and Slam are going to join her on that bench as Tina Fatal makes another 4 points and is deciding what to do next as she comes up to the back of that pack.
It just doesn't seem very nice to me.
OGs and Esmeralda on the track for Minnesota Nice. And Tina Fatal making easy work of getting those points. Second wind accrued 12 points in that jam, and they are now up 56-9. And this time, Little Rascal is indeed on the track, and I believe going to jam.
Had it been 3 jams in a row that SoFine was the jammer?
I believe that is correct, yes. Going in and out of the box. Number 9, Nicholas Rage, hops around that outside and just speedy coming around that track to make point.
The Nice finally get some reinforcements from the penalty box, but it's not soon enough as Rage sees an inside line and takes the shortest way around the track for those 4 points.
We've got bodies falling to the inside. Minnesota Nice providing some offensive work. And Little Rascal out of that pack. But Nicholas Rage calling it off after getting 8 points total on that jam.
Timeout called by the Minnesota Nice. Because the things have not been going so nicely for them in the last couple of jams.
Not
Time
in the
to take
last
a minute.
couple of jams, yeah. They're going to regroup, do some deep breathing while we talk about some other fun facts. So Blink 182, which is a great name.
Accurate.
For a skater, was apparently the first skater on Mars.
Oh, that is a fun fact. But was she also on the moon?
I will find out
at the same time because the moon is part of Mars.
Right.
We know this,
sure.
right?
Yes.
It's science.
Science. The other thing I know is that Blink 182 is a playwright working on Cloudy with a Chance, coming soon to the Greenhouse Theater in Chicago.
Oh, that's fun. I like that.
Fun fact about Minnesota, we can tell you who's actually skating for them because we've got a minute here. We've got 011 Baller, 0707 Valkyrie, number 14 is Breezes, 19 Iser Slam, number 22 is Sugar Beatdown, 229 is Sodium Fina, otherwise known as So Fine, 313 is Kung Pao Bitchin, 33 is Little Rascal, 34 Pretty Reckless, 37 is OGs, 556 is Malls to the Walls, 65 is T-Rex, and 75 is Gay of Reckoning. Number 82 is Brutal Brit, and 87 is Esmeralda. So we've got Valkyrie on the line, who's jamming right now, actually, up front.
And this is a power jam as Hannibal Wrecker went to the box. I saw she was on the inside line, did not see the call specifically. And we do have a lead jammer. It's going to be Valkyrie.
I believe this is Valkyrie's first lead jam of this game, looking to make some points and tighten up that gap a little bit. And it looks like Hannibal Wrecker came onto the track and immediately went back to the box with a penalty, but Valkyrie is going to maybe join her there. Valkyrie is headed to the box. So this is one of those fun switcheroos where one jammer is going to sit down, the other one gets to be released. So that is Hannibal Wrecker coming onto the track for Windy City. You see a strong tripod up front for Minnesota. It has OGs, Esmeralda, and Kung Pao. Hannibal slides through on that inside. And they're regrouping up at the front now. Some great toe stop work, really pushing on that front. And Valkyrie is back on the track as well. Kung Pao Bitchin headed to the box. I believe that was a high block.
Now each pack or each set of blockers with that triangle defensive formation that's so popular and successful these days. First came to my attention from some European teams using that technique. And let me tell you, it baffled American teams the first time they saw that. They had no idea what to do.
And then we started practicing it and found out how effective that could be, being able to rotate in that tripod or that braced wall, knocking jammers around a little bit, paying attention to who's where. Being that backward controller, you really have eyes on where that jammer is and can communicate easily to the rest of your blockers.
So T-Rex to the line for the nice, Blink 1 Skatey 2 for the second wind.
And T-Rex is very hoppy on those toe stops, popping out the front, but getting stopped by that tripod of Windy City. And Blink 1 Skatey 2 has been called lead jam for this jam. Very strong defensive walls. Kind of got everybody stopped up on corner 2. Blink 1 Skatey 2 is through.
That's right. The Nice tried to reform, but they had to split their pack, go around the Chicago pack, and it wasn't quite enough.
Geico makes it easy to get help when you need it.
Oh. Meanwhile, we've got the star pass.
Yeah, we have Kung Pao Bitchin putting on the star. This is the first time she's jammed, and Windy City is calling it off before Minnesota Nice can make any points. It does look like we are now at 75 points for second wind and 11 points for Minnesota Nice. Fun fact, Miller Lite does not like Miller Lite. Maybe he lost a bet and had to be named that.
No, Miller Lite, one of our referees, an outside pack ref at this time, said the name has nothing to do with beer. In fact, the beer stole his name. That's really how that worked.
And Breezes is jamming for Minnesota. Really loves hopping those inside and outside lines. Has been knocked out and is being drawn back. Windy City has gained lead jammer status. That is Nicholas Rage,
Breezes
who is through for points.
passes the star to Baller, but the jam's going to be called as Baller gets out of the pack. So what's that?
Great strategy to get rid of that helmet cover. If you are not lead jam, sometimes you hang on to it and you get through the pack. Sometimes you pass it on. Can be very effective. So Little Rascal back on the line up against Hannibal Wrecker. I believe we've seen them match up before. We've seen Hannibal on the line quite a few times.
Accurate. Little Rascal's got some family in the house cheering her on here tonight.
Fun fact, Little Rascal and I grew up in the same small town of about 1,200 people.
Oh, which one is that?
It's up north. It's Aiken, just north of Garrison.
I know where that is.
Yep. People drive through it all the time. Hannibal has gained a lead jam status and is looking to make some more points for Second Wind. Gay of Reckoning working to do a little offense for Little Rascal. Oh, and a hop on that inside that was not quite successful, but did not get a penalty for it. So back on the track, pushing against that back wall. Again, we've got that strong tripod. We've got Sugar Beatdown, Brutal Brit, and Mauls to the Walls. Hannibal has gotten through, however, and has gained 4 points on this jam.
The time Gay of Reckoning was playing offensive blocking and ran right into the jammer and just got out of the way because they were so focused on blocking on offense. Do your job and trust your teammates to do their jobs. It didn't work out in that instance, but
and not only that, Gay of Reckoning has now taken the jammer cap. So is the jammer for Minnesota Nice currently, and Second Wind is calling that off to prevent any points for Minnesota Nice. And it looks like Second Wind has gained 9 points on that last jam. Does that sound right?
that sounds right to me.
So it's 88-11. Those are fun numbers. Not super fun for Minnesota right now, as they've been at 11 for a little while.
Right.
But I'm sure they're ready to come back from that. They've got Valkyrie on the line jamming. And we're seeing Tina Fatal out there again for Windy City. Valkyrie does a nice job on those lines, stepping over other skaters.
But it will be Tina Fatal through first lead jammer. So the Second Wind thus far not letting the Minnesota Nice even get a first wind in this bout so far.
Baller does have that star in hand and pushed her way out of the front of that pack. It's a very strong skater. You don't want to be on the other side of her if she is hitting or jamming against you. She's looking for her line now to try to get through that pack. Esmeralda doing some nice offense, taking out Demanda Beating.
But the Second Wind still has a nice set of blockers up front. This has been a power jam for Baller, but not that you'd even notice because of the solid blocking of the Second Wind.
Yep, they killed that penalty quite effectively. And number 6, Tina Fatal, is back on the track. Baller doing a nice spin move. Ending up against the shoulder of a blocker of Windy City, but getting back on that track. Kickin' McChuggett.
Boy, that's hard to say.
It is. Yeah, I had to look at it a couple times before I read that off of there. Kickin' McChuggett. One-on-one against Baller right now and really holding her back. Minnesota Nice blocker is looking to do a little offense to try to help their jammer in this situation. And that jam has come to its 2-minute conclusion. Baller did get a couple of points on that last pass. So 7 for Minnesota Nice and 11 for Second Wind on that jam. We are currently at 18, so Minnesota Nice has a couple more points on the board now. 17 to 99.
And both 18 and 99 happily divisible by 9, so that's fun.
18. Why did I say 17? So we've got T-Rex jumping around on that jammer line. Does some great toe stop work up against a full pack of blockers. Looks like their jammer is in the box, though.
That's right. Nicholas Rage taking a seat for 30 seconds or so. But yeah, the blockers for the second wind are really being effective right now. Nowhere for T-Rex to go.
She popped through to get up front, and they had recycled right there ready for her. Minnesota positioning themselves for when that jammer is released, and T-Rex just pushing as hard as she can up front with a little help from Brutal Brit. And we've got a bit of a... T-Rex really pushing up front there. Valkyrie trying to hold some skaters back.
T-Rex just clawing her way forward.
And for a second, there was
his
no
called
pack.
lead.
Excellent. Has passed all of the second win Windy City blockers, but is stuck up front. So much heart in pushing there, and does call it off, icing the second wind Windy City jammer in the box, it looks like.
I think so.
I'm not sure if she was released.
Looks like that jammer must have been released.
So we do have two jammers on the line. We've got Hannibal Wrecker and Little Rascal being paired up again on that jammer line.
That was a long jam for 0 points to be scored. Very impressive defense by particularly the second win, but also by the Nice.
Little Rascal currently pulling up front. And Minnesota Nice blocker is holding Hannibal to the back. Great bridge up front. Little Rascal's fan club is cheering for her to get past that last blocker. And she has become lead jammer. Little Rascal gaining lead jam.
Very impressive one-on-one blocking there by Demand a Beating of the Nice, but eventually, or I'm sorry, not of the Nice, of the Wind, the second wind. But eventually, indeed, Little Rascal did get through for what's been a rare lead jam situation for Minnesota tonight.
And Little Rascal has gotten through a bit of a pile-up on that one corner. She's looking to her bench and continuing to skate. Kung Pao Bitchin and Esmeralda doing a nice job of holding Hannibal Wrecker back. Again, that tough blocking trio. We've got Vanasty as well as Demand a Beating up front, holding Little Rascal. Well done, getting 4 points on the board for Minnesota Nice. Second wind also received 4. Sometimes pushing against that kind of wall is like trying to push a truck uphill.
Absolutely.
All of the power that the skaters have practiced for, that agility, that strength. And Breezes on the line.
It should be easy to remember the name of the skater whose number is 182. I think we're gonna get that now.
Yes.
That's gonna be an easy one for
I'm
us.
gonna work on that. Remembering it and saying it correctly. Two different things. Lots of action up front, and Blink 182 has gotten around on the inside, is called lead jammer for this jam. Blink 182 is now sitting in the box, giving Breezes an opportunity to get out of that pack.
Yeah, the Nice has had plenty of opportunities on power jams here, but boy, the blocking walls of the second wind are just suffocating here right now for most of these Minnesota jammers.
Very solid. We have Pitbull Princess out there right now for second wind. Their pivot, Sandy Cheeks, who is from Texas. Fun fact.
Ooh.
That's where the name comes from. And Minnesota's talking and yelling out to each other. Good communication on the track to be prepared for Blink 1 Skate 2. Breeze is still pushing up front.
So
And
4
so do-
points. 4 points on the board there for the second wind from Blink Skatey. I don't know, I'm just shortening that name in arbitrary ways. Skater number 182.
Oh, Breeze is doing a fabulous job spinning around and staying on that track, using those toe stops and those slippery skills to get through. And that was a 2-minute jam. Did that feel like a
Wow.
2-minute jam?
I bet it felt like an 8-minute jam to Breezes.
Yes.
Goodness gracious.
Did make it through out of that pack at the end there. So, Valkyrie back on the line up against Nicholas Rage. We've seen Nicholas Rage be very successful with scoring points for second win. And this blocking pod for Minnesota Nice, we've got OGs up front doing a little offense with Esmeralda, Baller, and Kung Pao Bitchin in that tripod in the back. Nicholas Rage has gotten out of the pack for lead jam status, but Valkyrie right on her tail.
You gotta love the Valkyrie big right arm swing on those corners.
Just
That's how you
extra
know.
power.
That's how you know she means business.
Power.
And she is a
Yeah.
very powerful skater.
Absolutely. She's hit me down before.
I bet.
Not a fan of that.
So that's a 1-0 jam in favor of the second wind.
Second win. Valkyrie getting out quickly enough to cause them to call it off. And T-Rex back on the line, waving to some friends. Looks like she's got a lot of energy in this game today. Very excited about that. And 52 is Death Ray. This is the first time they've jammed in this bout, if I'm remembering correctly. We've got Death Ray.
That is my memory as well.
All right. Gay of Reckoning doing some offensive work. And T-Rex is out for lead jam. Minnesota fans very excited about that. Coming around to make some points. Yes. A little toe stop work on the outside. I personally really appreciate T-Rex's moves on those toe stops, and Brutal Brit working some offense for her.
Death Ray headed to the box with that high block. So the power jam for T-Rex. A welcome sight to the hometown Minnesota Nice fans here.
And T-Rex working to get out that front. A lot of hard recycling for second win, but T-Rex is through, and that is 4 points for Minnesota Nice.
Nice.
Nice. Chipping away at that lead a little bit. Again, some offense from Gay of Reckoning. Fox Force 5 up at the front there. Doing
So-
some blocking against T-Rex, but it looks like we've got 8 points on the board in that jam for Minnesota Nice.
That's right. So an 8-0 jam helping out Minnesota. So bringing them to a score of 34 to 112 for the second wind of the Windy City Rollers out of
And-
Chicago, Illinois, the United States of America.
All of those things, absolutely correct. It looks like we have 18 seconds left in period 1. And some big hits to the out. Iser Slam having a little equipment malfunction, perhaps. Getting that hockey helmet secured, but Baller going to the box. And Tina Fatal through for lead jam.
I won.
So fine pushing up at the front, and Tina Fatal going to the box. This is a power jam situation with So Fine holding that cap in hand up against that tough wall of a nasty and tricky Pixie, but through for that initial pass. Not your lead jammer, but coming back around to work on some points.
That's right, and there's 1 minute left in this jam, thus 1 minute left in this half. The period clock long expired, and everybody loves extra derby.
Could not agree more. All the derby. So this jam will go that full 2 minutes since we currently have no lead jammer.
Baller playing some offensive blocker.
Yeah, we've got Demanda beating up there again, being that braced position of that tripod. Very solid wall. So Fine, just grinding away up front. Kung Pao Bitchin heading to the box for a forearm penalty, it looks like.
And we get the back block call on Tina Fatal.
Tina Fatal's got quite a few penalties in the last 5 minutes, I would say.
Yeah, well, whereas So Fine had all her penalties earlier. So, you know.
It's balancing out the universe.
That's what it is. That's what it is.
We are at intermission.
Whew. Well, that was a long 2 minutes to end that one up. Looks like the listed score 115-38 in favor of the second wind. So we will be back with you soon from the Doug Woog Arena in sunny South St. Paul, Minnesota.
Doug Woog. It's fun to say.
Doug Woog is so fun to say.
Woog.
It's really unfun to say either of those names separately without saying Doug Woog.
Doug Woog. You have to say it together. You're correct. It's 1,000,000 degrees outside. So come and grab yourself some concessions over here. We've got cold drinks. We've got hot nuts. We've got all sorts of cool merch. Go visit friends. We've got the skating place over here with awesome things like, I could use some of those. We've got laces. We've got those things that protect the front of your skate that I never get, so my skates always look like crap. There's wheelie things that are round. Those are super important. Helmets, S1. We love that. Other gear, knee pads, elbow pads, wrist guards. Come and look at things, and we'll be back in a bit. Oh, probably. Apron. Goodness. Fun fact about Apron, he just steps over whatever is in his way. We do have officials to announce as well. We've got some names here, don't we? Irma Gerd, I mentioned earlier with Cat Scout. We've got Aneurysm, fun fact, created a recipe for Care Sunrise, a Care 11 ice cream flavor. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Did not know that. Okay. Triple Destruction with 2 cats, a toddler, and teaches children. Smash Ketchum, great name. Bruce Springsteen, also fabulous with Bowie and Bruce. Rodeo Autocorrect, coming from Chippewa Valley Roller Derby. Duke Skellington, Elk, Hale Satin.
I can't believe it, that I won the best of
Say that wrong. Her number is 1846. That was the year the sewing machine was invented.
Clever.
We've got Cupcake Battering, Devastator, and Bach Blocker, who is a big beer guru, professional, amazing dude. And we've got Derby that is happening with T-Rex up front. And it looks like 1975 being held back by Minnesota, and their jammer is back on the track. That is Tina Fatal.
That's right. So the half started off in a power jam situation for T-Rex, who did manage to get lead, but then forced out and forced to recycle back around. So a very difficult lead jam call.
Yes, T-Rex pulling all the way back and facing those blockers again, looking to her bench to see what she should do next, and they said, you keep on pushing. But she is out, so that is definitely working in her favor. That was her initial pass. looking to make some points there, doing a little hop and calling it off.
So T-Rex gets those 3 points to 3 also for the second wind. So great job there by Minnesota's blockers, slowing down Tina Fatal, holding her to 3 points over that time that T-Rex was able to get through the pack and get around on that scoring pass.
Beautiful, yeah. T-Rex did a nice hop on that inside. Again, just the agility on those toe stops. And got those 3 points. So we are currently at 41 for Minnesota Nice and 118 for second win. We've got Little Rascal up against Hannibal Wrecker. We've seen this pair up a couple of times. Little Rascal is pushing up at the front. But it looks that Hannibal Wrecker is through and it did gain lead jam status. Minnesota pushing Hannibal out, coming back to that tripod and pushing. Looks like we're going to have a little help from Gabe Reckning coming out of the box and doing some offense for Little Rascal, getting that pack moving a little bit. But a nice swoop around that outside. Actually, for Hannibal Wrecker's trouble, gets her back in the box.
That's right. It was a track cut happened right in front of us. I could see that the outside 2 wheels slide just over the line.
So that was a track cut, but Little Rascal working on getting some points in this power jam situation. Minnesota Nice holding back a bit, being patient. And that was a nice penalty kill on behalf of the second win blockers. Little Rascal still pushing up front while Hannibal Wrecker is back on that track and working to get through, as she does on the inside on one skate, but Little Rascal following closely behind. Four points for each jammer there.
Just under 26 minutes left in the second half of this bout. Minnesota Nice and the second wind. This is not the last derby of the evening here at the Have a Nice Day tournament. We've got another one coming up. Who's in that bout tonight?
That's going to be an exciting bout. We have the Windy City and the Minnesota All-Stars. So right now we're seeing second win and Minnesota Nice, which are the All-Star B teams in this B team tournament. The All-Stars from Minnesota, their A team, and Windy City A team is going to be matched up against each other. Super exciting matchup as well.
Yeah, 2 long-standing leagues from the Midwest have not played each other as many times over the years as you'd think.
But when they do.
But when they do. Oh, but when they do.
One of the few ties that have ever remained a tie because of some wonky scorekeeping back in the day. That was 2012 or something, I believe. That will not be happening tonight. So we have a cut penalty on Valkyrie. Nicholas Rage is our lead jammer for second win. Being drawn back by Baller. Brutal Brit mauls to the walls and pretty reckless, but scooping through there. And putting points on the board is Nicholas Rage. Just non-stop Nicholas Rage with that power and agility. Looks like we've got Vonasty heading to the box for second wind. Valkyrie's working that outside line. Yes.
Oh, fantastic job.
So close.
Who is that?
Does not ever give up. That is number 21, and that is Tricky Pixie. I would say that name
Yeah.
is accurate.
It was a
as well.
fantastic effort because Val had the
Very
inside line and Tricky had to go through another blocker or two and then come back inside and cut off Valkyrie. Extremely impressive blocking there. It's the kind of thing that builds you up a big lead in a roller derby bout.
Beautiful blocking indeed. Sodium Fina backs on the line, and skater number 182, who we know is
That's right. Blink
Blink.
1 Skatey 2.
Blink 1 Skatey 2.
What a fun name.
Sodium Fina pushing up at front with Esmeralda doing some offense. Vanasty just now coming out of the box. Also working some offense for their jammer, Blink 1 Skatey 2.
So the 2 all up front, able to slow down So Fine until it becomes a 3-wall, subsumed back into the pack.
Yeah, Demanda beating up there, being joined by Vanasty and Blink 1 Skatey 2 around for more points. Her bench is telling her to keep on skating. There's a no pack call. Windy City has to drop a skater. That is Sandy Cheeks, who we mentioned is from Texas. Blink 1 Skatey 2 having to come back.
What?
But slides through on that inside line. So Sandy Cheeks, 5'12", as we mentioned, from Texas, just like her namesake. She is a lead scriptwriter for Nickelodeon.
Ooh, that's fun.
Fun fact.
Fun fact indeed.
And she is bumped off the track, also being drawn back at turn 2.
So there was a star pass to Kung Pao Bitchin, but that was deemed to be an illegal star pass, and so eventually they sorted it out where Kung Pao Bitchin's in the box. So Fine had to go back and pick up the star from trackside, but by the time that happened, this jam was over.
That can get very messy. A star pass that does not go well gets a little messed up, and you have to figure out who needs to grab that hat, where it should go to make a legal re-entry on that. We do have T-Rex back on the line. She has been a successful jammer for Minnesota Nice tonight, but taking off that cover as Hannibal Wrecker is called lead.
So the advantage to the Wrecker in the Rex-Wrecker matchup this time. I don't know, they have the same name. What do you want me to do?
I completely expected that from you, actually. It was beautiful. Hey, we've got Kung Pao Bitchin putting that star helmet cover on, making her the jammer, crashing into that back wall, and perhaps picking up a penalty.
Perhaps. Well, at least this time she's got the star definitely on her head for the penalty.
Definitely on her
so she
head.
knows which position she's in the penalty box, knows which chair to sit in.
And that was absolutely a penalty. That's why she was in the penalty box.
Yeah.
So Hannibal Wrecker is the only jammer on the track right now and does a great little turn on one skate. Gail Reckning cruising up front to get a little bump in there at the top.
Oh, so we've got Wrecker, Rex, and Reckoning,
Yes.
but only
All of
two of those start with W. They just sound the same.
Fun how the English language is like that, huh? We could talk to Gay of Reckoning. Gay of Reckoning, they might put a W on the
Yeah,
start
that's
of
possible.
Reckoning. Or not. Perfect just the way it is. And Brutal Brit knocking Hannibal Wrecker out, drawing her all the way back. Nice bridge work by Minnesota Nice, and that jam has come to a conclusion.
After the excellent effort Brutal made, Jammer decided, I don't need any more of this. I'm good.
Good with 13 points. Minnesota Nice did pick up 3 on that jam.
And also, the Second Wind able to preserve the power jam. So this one's going to start off with a single jammer on the track. Tina Fatal of the Windy City Second Wind.
Minnesota Nice all defense on the start here. We've got Baller towards that outside line. Little Rascal, Iser Slam, and Esmeralda popping back up in front of their jammer. Got some nice 2-on-1 blocking.
Well, it took a while, but eventually Tina Fatal did make it through and get lead.
Minnesota making her work for it.
Absolutely.
All right, paying close attention to what we've got happening right now because it looks like Little Rascal has that helmet cover and is out of the pack. Sneaky pass and strong effort to pop out the other side.
So Rascal forcing the call off, but not in time to score points. Looks like we've got, might be an official review, was one of the signals I saw, by the Minnesota Nice. We'll find out if that's actually what's going on.
I see an O.
Yep. Oh.
Oh. And it looks
official
like it's
review.
being, yes. And who are they? What bench are they pointing? Are they pointing
to the Nice.
Minnesota with that?
Yeah.
Minnesota Nice calling official review, which will be officially reviewed by the officials. Another fun fact about our officials, Josh Bleeden, his favorite part of being an official is jam timing.
Oh, that's somebody just made that up and told you about that, right?
Perhaps, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
He's not even out here right now, but hopefully listening somewhere.
Hopefully.
And will give us other non-correct fun facts about other officials.
Well, okay. Looks like the coaches and the captains conferring with each other across team lines. You don't always see that at an official review. Sometimes they're very separated.
I see smiles as well.
Ooh, smiles.
Breezes there with Animal. I don't know if we mentioned the coaching staff for Minnesota. We've got Animal, Baba Stefka, Slayer, and Duggar. They're called the Matriarchy. They are a powerhouse of coaches. I dare you to not love them if you've ever met them. The coaches for Windy City Second Wind is Aha Gabor, Machete Holiday, Zotrocious, or Zoe Trocious, and Impale Ale. I know I'm thirsty.
You're thirsty?
A little bit. What is a group of zebras called? Someone knows that out there. That's
I don't know.
That's our trivia of the half.
Okay, I don't know.
Yeah, somebody. I think it's a sparkle.
A sparkle of zebras?
Sure.
It might be.
Sparkle, a spackle, a shimmer.
I don't know. It could be. Speaking of those kind of words, every time Baller's on the track, not at this moment, but every time, with the sequins, always with the sequins.
Yes.
Do sequins sparkle? Is that what they do? Do they shimmer? Do they shine? How do they? I'm always wondering what the proper verb is.
Good question. I think sequins do whatever they want. I think there are times that they
fair.
shimmer.
Okay.
Definitely sparkle.
Okay.
If Baller is wearing them, I would see a lot of sparkle happening.
Yeah. That's the word that came to mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would go with that, for sure. We also have our fabulous EMTs in the house helping keep everyone safe. You know, we've got Kitty Nip, who's been here all weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Really appreciate our volunteers looking out for our skaters. We've got some fabulous photographers as well. Ron Wilbur over here with some big lenses, capturing some amazing derby shots. Love to look at those in the next couple of days.
Indeed. As our referees, looks like they've come to some sort of decision, or at least the conversation split up. So we'll see what happens here with this Minnesota Nice challenge of the official call.
Official review, officially reviewing something official. Yeah, they broke into smaller groups. Still a lot of conversation happening.
Maybe they split it into like subcommittees.
Perhaps. They might be talking about where we should go later today. Camp Bar.
Oh.
It's always a great place to head to for drinks and fun. I know there's a 5 o'clock party there tomorrow.
Oh.
That's what I heard. I'm gonna be there. Y'all should join me.
Okay. Well,
I mean,
maybe I will.
Yeah,
I don't know.
5 o'clock Sunday. Why not?
I don't work except Sunday morning, so that seems fine.
I love it. Okay, so Animal's doing a happy dance. And I hear we won. Whatever it actually was, I don't know if somebody's going to come and tell us what that might be or not. We'll just guess.
Well, that is extremely helpful to us as announcers way over here, because we're not getting a report of what was challenged or what happened, but we saw
something Derby related got challenged. Minnesota Nice won. We currently only have Breezes skating as a jammer, so perhaps something jammer related. And Breezes on that line, leaving the track.
Wah, wah.
Yes.
That's the an official review that's successful, and you're excited, and you got the energy built up, and then the jammer penalty is kind of a letdown in that early in a jam like that.
So as Breezes sat down, the jammer for Windy City was released, as will happen per the rules, and Breezes only had to sit for the amount of time that the second wind jammer, that is Tina Fatal, right, was sitting for. So both jammers back on the track is what the important thing is, except for not any longer. Breezes is
going back to the box with a multiplayer block. You don't see a lot of those on the jammer, but that was the call. And we were talking about it, Shug and I, last night, that you don't see a lot of that. She was like, how does that happen? I'm like, I've seen it. Shug is not watching now. She's at the lake, but
good for her.
We'll have to tell her about it tomorrow.
Yeah, Breezes kind of had her hands up in the air a little bit when she sat down, too. Like, well, not sure what I just did. It was not okay. I'll try not to do that again. It's a jammer penalty is happening out here. So, Windy City looking to help their jammer through. But a strong set of Minnesota blockers on the track. And Tina Fatal calls it off after gaining 8 points total on that jam.
Well.
10 points. 10 points on that jam, actually.
Yeah, I saw the jam ref signaling to the outside refs trying to determine how many points were scored on that final pass. 2 was the number of fingers that went up.
Right. 8 plus 2. Math.
Math is awesome. I love math.
Valkyrie was jamming and is now heading for the penalty box. So we've got second wind on a power jam with Nicholas Rage, very formidable jammer, pushing up front against Iserslem and Baller, past those sparkly sequin shorts to gain lead jam status. Looks like she's either doing some deep breathing or a little signaling. Either way, coming up hot on that pack of 2 because we do have some other penalties happening for Minnesota. Iserslam working to get up with her blocking friends.
Great job there by Nicholas Rage, just breaking right through the tripod formation. I don't think the formation was quite as well set as some we've seen tonight, and Rage made it look easy. Continuing to rack up points for the second wind.
And Windy City really doing a great job of recycling up front. Do we have a penalty here on the pivot for second win? But Valkyrie getting through on that initial pass. Oh, yes. Nicholas Rage getting knocked around a little bit at the end there, does get through and calls it off.
So with a score of 184 for the second win to 48 for the Minnesota Knights, the ratio of scoring, I believe, is 46 to 12. Although I guess you can divide that one more, so it would be 23 to 6.
23 to 6. Yes. So having T-Rex pop out of that pack, gaining lead jam status, looking to add a couple more points for Minnesota Knights, but does have Hannibal Recker right on her tail coming around the outside. T-Rex does get 4 points and is going to keep going, it looks like.
Yeah, there have not been a lot of high-scoring jams tonight for the Minnesota Knights. T-Rex has had a couple of them, though, and so they trusted her to get a couple more points on that second pass, a 2-0 second pass, making that a 6-point jam for the Knights.
Very nice. Yeah, T-Rex being quite successful tonight, as she was yesterday. Strong jammer. We've got a pretty deep jammer line for Minnesota Knights. We've seen a number of jammers out there, and it looks like we have Sodium Fina, So Fine, back on that line again, up against Blink 182. So Fine's up at the front, up against that tough tripod from Second Win. And Blink 182 is the lead jammer in this jam. Bumping up against Iser Slam OGs and Pretty Reckless, who are holding her back there.
So Fine has all 4 blockers to beat up front. Does have an offensive blocker helping, but boy, it's tough because you got the triangle to the square, back and forth, and the recycling by the Second Win blockers. We've seen so much of this tonight.
It also looks like that jammer cap has been passed to Baller. So Fine's doing a little offense, but Baller is working on getting through. Tiny bit of hesitation as the Second Win blockers reform. Someone is going to the box on a multiplayer block. That looks like it is 69. That is Demand a Beating. While Blink 182 pulls up some other points there. Gets knocked to the outside. It's a big hit to the out. Baller does have the jammer star on her helmet. And is up against Sandy Cheeks. And kicking McChuggett.
So Baller sparkling her way to 4 points for the Knights as the jam is off.
Well done.
200 points on the board for the Second Wind. Now 204 points to 58 for the Knights.
All right, we're getting Little Rascal back out on the line. Got a number of people here cheering out for Little Rascal, and of course the rest of the Minnesota Knights. Got quite a crew cheering for Second Wind. We've got their A-team coming up next, as we mentioned. Brutal Brit knocking Tina Fatal around a bit.
And Tricky Pixie forcing.
She is out for lead jam.
Sorry, Nasty. That was just going to say Tricky Pixie was the one to force Little Rascal to recycle around the same time.
But Little Rascal is through as well. Yeah, Tricky Pixie. Again, difficult to say. Very effective blocking, however. Little Rascal just now getting around her for 4 points. We are continuing this jam. Little Rascal up against Tricky Pixie. Slides right by. 4 more points. And Tina Fatal goes down as she's calling it off.
Yep. Always fun to see somebody call it off from laying on their stomach. You don't see a ton of that, but Tina Fatal pulled it off with aplomb there after the big hit from Esmeralda.
That can be a little bit difficult. Make sure you don't hit a chin, split something open as you're down there calling it off.
Hannibal Wrecker and Valkyrie for their teams to the jam line. 8 minutes left in this bout on the period 2 clock. So no lead, a no penalty, no pass situation there for Hannibal Wrecker.
Right.
But eligible to score points and doing so as gets through for 4. So lead still possible as far as we know for Valkyrie.
Yes. And she has just been called lead jammer for this jam, although she's got a number of second wind blockers trying to push her out. There's a penalty on 187 that is
Kickin' McChuggett.
Thank you.
I've decided to learn that one. Who appears to have taken a bit of a shot to the nose and was displeased by that and the call, I think.
Absolutely. It was holding her face as she was being called on a penalty. Valkyrie is calling it after receiving a couple of points. We have a number of other volunteers making this tournament possible. It looks like we've got medical from Windy City as well as our wonderful EMTs. We've got a lot of Minnesota volunteers and fans here today. We appreciate that. And T-Rex back on the line up against Blink 182. Tiptoeing around that out and then to the middle. T-Rex really pushing hard up front. Brutal holding 182 back. Sugar Beatdown is also there, and T-Rex successful in gaining in the lead jam status.
That's right, very impressive tonight. T-Rex jamming. Hasn't jammed as much as some of these jammers, I think, before, but really doing a good job. But like you said, hopping around, a lot of stepping around. It's fun to see T-Rex's off-skate personality come through when she's skating. And you see that even more when she's jamming.
Absolutely, I would agree with that.
Just constant motion from
Little
T-Rex, all the 24/7.
Reminder to keep an eye out for our officials, whether you're on skates or not. It looks like Kickin' McChuggett came out of the box, made contact with an official, and was sent right back to the box again. We want to make sure that everyone is safe out there.
So 4 points there for Blink, and the jam is over.
4 more for T-Rex, so that is an 8-4 jam in favor of Minnesota Nice, bringing them to 76 points. Second win at 227. Again, for those of you watching at home, thank you for tuning in. We've got Minnesota Nice in black with the Aqua and Army, mainly Aqua helmets. And we've got Second Wind in the white jerseys with red and that fun flag on the front.
Indeed. We got an official timeout here with 4 minutes and 58 seconds listed on the period clock. So nearing the end of this one, 227 to 76, the listed score in favor of the Second Wind, whose defense has really been the story of this one.
I can only imagine what they're talking about out there now. Ermergerd is making some hand motions. There's an official grabbing some water. Everybody else listening very intently. And I'm not very good at charades, but we've got Apron and Aneurysm also deep in conversation.
Indeed.
All super important information.
Super, super important.
Did we figure out what a group of zebras was called?
I didn't, because I've been working instead of Googling stuff on my phone.
I'll give $1 to anybody who tells me.
This one, look at this. We've got like both teams just standing in a circle having a chat.
Oh,
You don't see a ton of that. Because Derby, yeah.
Derby love.
Yeah, so often you get the two teams, like each group of blockers, talking to each other, and then the two jammers behind the line trying to decide whether they want to talk to each other or not. This time we just got a whole, I feel like they're going to start, one will start dancing in the middle of that circle pretty soon. It'll be baller.
I hope so. Yes, maybe a little. So, fun fact about Baller, great at breakdancing, also raps, and teaches dance and yoga. I went to one of her yoga sessions. It was amazing. She talked her dad into being there as well.
Awesome.
It was a very sweaty, fulfilling, stretching situation. Baller is multi-talented.
Once again, we're joining you here from the Doug Woog Arena in sunny South St. Paul, Minnesota. Doug Woog, obviously, from my observations, an ice hockey arena normally. And we've got, must be home with the South St. Paul Packers based on the tremendously large number of banners hung from the ceiling.
Right, and that big sign there that
that's a big sign.
Yeah.
You are correct.
So zebras, they can be called a zeal, a crossing, a cohort, a herd, but my favorite, now that I've looked it up and figured it out, is a group of zebras is called a dazzle. Dazzle. Zebras, dazzle, lots of Z's.
The internet has told me that before.
Yeah. We got to remember that for next time. I mean, I can't make any promises. We've got So Fine on the line.
Nicholas Rage.
Yeah, Nicholas Rage, who is up against Baller's sparkly backside. Kung Pao pushing her out. They're drawing her back. Esmeralda also part of that tripod in the back, being very effective against Nicholas Rage, which is difficult. She's a super jammer, agile and jumpy.
For the second win, we've got out there Demand a Beating. I saw Pika Bruise. I think Trouble Helix is out there as well. Looks like the star has been passed for Minnesota. Meanwhile, Nicholas Rage is your lead jammer on a scoring pass.
Right, so we've got Kung Pao bitchin' with that jammer star on, but Nicholas Rage calls it off.
As the referees confer and find out how many points scored by the second win. 0 points in the air for Minnesota. And it looks like the Nice are going to use a second official review.
Because they won that previous one.
Yeah, that's right. I think last night Jacksonville used 3 official reviews in the course of a bout. The other fun use of the number 3 in one of last night's bouts was when 3 different jammers went to the box in the same jam. That's a good time. Go to the box, come back, pass the star, go to the box. It was fun.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah, it was really good.
Not for those jammers, probably. But
they get a break. It was fun.
Part of Derby.
They're rested and refreshed when they get out of that penalty box,
Sure,
though.
30 seconds rest. Sometimes that's all you need.
Look on the bright side.
I'll try. Thank you. Is that part of your sermon tomorrow?
I seriously doubt it. No, nah. If a Lutheran tells you to look on the bright side, just walk out.
I'll keep that in mind. We've got our dazzle of zebras back together again. Very stripy group, as well as the same foursome chatting.
That's right. Yeah, they're continuing the conversation, undoubtedly.
Sure, from previously.
Looks like Breezes is telling an anecdote or reenacting something, probably that has nothing to do with roller derby. It's something that happened at the mall, I'm guessing.
I hope. I don't know. Maybe, yeah, she's good at stories. Maybe something about animals or family or something she's building in the wood shop. Animals talking about petting kittens, I believe was that sign.
Okay.
Petting kittens.
Petting kittens,
yeah.
okay. That's very believable.
Or spinning wool. Could be either of those things. She's got an entire craft room that's got a lot of cool stuff in it.
I get really confused between petting kittens and spinning wool.
Yeah.
And I can only tell because I'm allergic to cats, so eventually the petting kittens goes bad. I'm like, I'm not spinning wool at all. And then I run out and find some Benadryl.
Don't get those confused. That's no good.
It's no good.
Don't try to spin wool if you're indeed petting kittens.
I thought I was spinning wool this whole time.
The whole time. Don't shear a cat. That doesn't go over very well.
Oh.
Nope.
Nope.
We have a lot of construction happening by our house, so our cats are super happy and purry until something shakes the house. And then you're lucky if you don't get clawed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everybody's a little more aware around our house right now. So, for those of you at home, you're probably seeing the feed. And we've got Victory Arms again over at Minnesota Nice event. Animal giving Victory Arms, which I believe indicates they have won that official review.
Wow, you don't see a team win 2 official reviews in the same bout very often.
Little Rascal also giving some jazz hands, ready to jam in this power jam situation.
Yep, so Tina Fatal
Right
starting
around
this
that
jam off
end.
in the box for the second wind.
Yes.
Little Rascal forced to recycle there by Pitbull Princess.
It's a very fitting name, knocking the jammer to the outside. And again, number 21, really strong with those hits. Tricky Pixie. Got a lot of skaters on the ground while Rascal is pushing up front. Hoping to push and get no pack, but we've got Windy City bridging back. Little one-on-one from Pitbull Princess. And number 9, Nicholas Rage, is out of the box and has become lead jammer for second win. Brutal Brit skating backwards. She does that very well. Fun fact, has been in figure skating dance competitions and has the jammer cap in her hand as she skates backwards out of that pack.
Always a good time.
Signature Brutal Brit move right there.
Brutal hitting the pack in a manner befitting her name. Does manage to score, I believe that's 3 points for the Nice on that jam.
I concur. It looks like 3 fingers being held up by Elk.
So less than 2.5 minutes left in this one. Hannibal Wrecker and Valkyrie to the line for their respective teams. Empty penalty boxes to start this jam.
Valkyrie coming up against some tough blocking in the front, but Hannibal Wrecker has been drawn back and is being held by Minnesota Nice. Looks like we have Malls to the walls, Sugar Beat down, and Pretty Rackless holding Hannibal Wrecker. While Valkyrie is pushing and tiptoeing around that outside to become your lead jammer. We have Hannibal Wrecker heading to the box, so this is a power jam. Valkyrie again on that outside.
Excellent job there by Valkyrie, making it through on the outside. Similar passes those 2 times, and now getting a lot of offensive blocking help.
Very fast pack. Valkyrie up front against one blocker. That is Sandy Cheeks.
That's right.
Just pushing to get some more points.
That moment of fast pack reminded me of when I first watched roller derby back in 2006 in Windy City, back when they skated at Cicero.
Yeah, Derby has gone through a lot of iterations, different strategy, different rules. Valkyrie coming back into the Windy City blockers, looking to the outside and then to the in, Wow, Hannibal Recker has made that initial pass, and Valkyrie wisely calls it off.
So a timeout called by Minnesota because there would have been less than 30 seconds on the period clock. That could have been the last jam of the bout, but the timeout preserves, so there'll be at least one more jam.
Bonus jam.
Bonus derby is everybody's favorite derby.
Yes, absolutely. And we're in T-Rex on the line from, it looks like, Minnesota Nice. We've got T-Rex out there in this bonus jam. Blocking, we've got OGs, Brutal Brit, Iser Slam, and Esmeralda. Fun fact, Esmeralda and HSB Trippin and I did some training with level 1 rec league. And we've got some hollering from the stands.
That's right. There's a couple of particularly rowdy fans up there.
Yeah, fan engagement, rowdy.
Recently retired Minnesota Roller Girls announcer John Maddening is up there aggressively yelling at people.
And
I guess.
being heard. Big
and being
surprise.
heard. Well, honestly,
Totally.
yeah. Totally shocking.
Yeah.
I would have expected more heckling of the announcers, but we're just not paying attention to
Yeah,
him,
I feel
so
like I
we
can't
can't
hear
hear him.
whatever he is saying.
It's a good plan.
And Minnesota Nice Bench is chanting T-Rex.
She even did the T-Rex arms.
Yes.
That was great.
Beautiful. And she's running right through the middle and then on the out, as T-Rex does, jumping around. Jumpy Jammer, working it. While Blink 182 is trapped in that back with Brutal Brit, Iser Slam, Esmeralda, and OGs. T-Rex using all her effort to move that group of blockers. Really doing a nice job. T-Rex is named lead jammer. And great awareness of what was happening with the people who were blocking her. She got up, got back on the track, and is now looking to score some points.
Absolutely. So the period clock is over. This one's going to go as long as T-Rex wants it to go, up to the 2-minute natural conclusion. Oh, nice offensive blocking there by a string
OGs,
of,
I think it was.
Yes, it
and
was.
yeah.
Yes, it was.
And Esmeralda. A lot of O happening as the second wind jammer is in the box. So this is a power jam for T-Rex. Powering through.
Pushing. So Blink back on the track and back in the pack.
Hitting hard, getting a little help from one of her blockers as well, but being pulled back by Brutal Brit, Esmeralda. Brutal Brit with some great wherewithal. Big hit to the outside. Comes cruising through to take care of the second wind jammer.
That is the end of the bout. The unofficial score, 239 for the Chicago Windy City Rollers second wind, and 94 for Minnesota Roller Girls Minnesota Nice.
Very exciting game. A lot of heart, strength, agility, powering through. So we have a little bit of a break.
Yeah.
Before our final game of tonight, we have a lot more derby happening tomorrow.
All right.
Come out and give some high fives here, it looks like.